Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, that is Eddie Vega.
And that is Chibirudunya.
And this is Words
and Shit, brought to you by Write Art Out and the Blah Poetry Spot.
The show where you get to know the person behind the poetry. Eddie, I gotta say, there must be some toros in the atmosphere.
Yes. It is definitely cold up in here. And when you said the poet, the words behind the poet or behind the poetry, I thought about how there's nothing behind me anymore.
You're going through some changes, sir.
I'm going through the change. But yes, it's cold out there. I had to wear a hat today. Yeah.
I'm not coping very well. I'm from the South.
Yes,
you know, we like the warm weather, and this just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's 40 degrees, and I'm like, what's happening?
It was 90 yesterday. I mean, when it happened, it was like 40 yesterday too. So
yeah. Well, that's just part of the seasons, part of the change. But part of why I love the South is because of the weather. But another reason why I love the South is the people, and we have an amazing poet joining us. I don't know if he claims to be from the South, but I'm going to say it, because I met him at Southern Fried. I think you met him at Southern Fried. The word South is in the name Southern Fried.
Right.
So tell us about our guest today.
He might be what we call Southern as fuck. I don't know. But he also has the longest bio ever. So I might speed read it. I don't know. We'll see.
Cliff notes.
Boris, Bluz Rogers, has risen through the ranks of spoken word entertainment. He's an Emmy Award winner, been recognized with an Excellence Leadership Award from the NAACP, the current Director of Creative Engagement for the Blumenthal Performing Arts, and the Slam Master and coach of SlamCharlotte, who's won like everything. They had back-to-back victories in 2007 and 2008, and then they won again in 2018. They won SayWhat in 2010. He's featured and hosted at the LA Poetry Festival, as well as the National Poetry Slam and the Individual World Poetry Slam. He's been a voiceover artist and has done everything from the National Museum of African American Music, Junior Achievement, the Carolina Panthers, Charlotte Hornets, the Charlotte Chamber of Commerce, and then he's been on stage with everyone. He's been on stage with Nikki Giovanni, Sonia Sanchez, Mahogany Brown, Dr. Cornel West, and Gil Scott Heron. And he's also been on stage with Outkast, Amel LaRue, Young Jeezy, Last Poets, D'Angelo, John Legend, De La Soul, KRS-One, and Pink Floyd. That's right, Pink Floyd. He's got 3 CDs, got a mixtape, and a book of poetry called Articulate Slang. He's been everywhere, done everything, but when he's not out doing those things, being one of the most talented voices of his generation, he devotes his time to his family, his wife, and his 3 lovely children.
I haven't even heard his poetry tonight, and I already want to throw a shoe at him. Ladies and gentlemen, Bluz, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I keep saying, like, I've got to give people a really redacted version of my bio, because when I hear it, I'm like, it's too fucking long. I gotta cut that thing down.
No, that was that cut.
And then I just want to do one where it's just like, hey, here's Bluz. He does poetry. That way, there's no high expectation, because you put all the stuff in there, and then you get up there and you do the poems, and the next thing I know, you guys are getting like DMs and emails like, hey, whoever that was, never bring him back. Like, I'm just so scared of that. I'm so scared of that.
I think you need to find it like 150 words or less, right? Just
right, exactly. A
paragraph. Well, we are so excited to have you on here. Accolades after accolades after accolades. You've been doing this poetry thing for a while, and so we are just very excited to have you. Before we hand the show over to you, as we do at the beginning, a word to all our viewers. If you're watching out there in Facebooklandia, use the comment section. That's what it's there for. We can see your comments. Use it to show some love. Use it to ask your questions. If you got a question that you want to throw at Bluz, put it in the comment section. We'll read it, and then he'll answer it. That's how this works. But it don't work if you don't use the comment section. So use it. That being said, let's go ahead and start off the show how we do every week and just hand it over to you and hear some poetry.
Awesome. First and foremost, thank y'all so much for having me here. We'll do some poems. Yeah. uh, my daughter goes to therapy. It helps to quiet some of the noise of being a teenager. It helps to bury some of the pain of losing a best friend at age 14, helps to tame some of the anxiety of a mother's high expectations. I sit in the false comfort of a lullaby lobby. It's a limbo with a leather couch, a carousel of coffees for a Keurig, matching mugs, and Wi-Fi with enough bandwidth to process all of your worries, because this place makes you question everything. John Mayer is playing from the corner of the room. It's like ironic thoughts set to soft guitar. Father, speak good to your daughters. So now you question, am I enough of a John Mayer song for her? Do Black girls even need therapy? How many Black women wish they had therapy when they were Black girls? Wish their fathers would have considered therapy, just wish their fathers would have considered being fathers. As a father, I remember all of my dark places. Then I wonder if I left a map with all of my suicide thoughts marked, buried somewhere in my baby's sadness, something she found after the tears washed up the dirt that covered it and pointed out the places to go and hurt yourself, and no one else can find you if she finds it. This map, I hope this therapist helps her avoid the mark spaces, the dark areas. I hope they don't ask me for help trying to navigate it, ask me for answers, because I don't have enough soft guitar and easy calm to give her a response in song. I'm more just complicated and confused question sitting in a limbo lobby, not drinking the coffee, not getting comfortable on this couch, trying to block out the John Mayer melody, just wondering if I even made the right decision to bring her here. Television has taught me to be father to your daughter means making hard decisions, tough choices about how they will grow up. None of those decisions or choices included therapy. James Evans never took Thelma to therapy. Uncle Phil never took Hillary or Ashley to therapy. Cliff Huxtable and Carl Winslow never took their daughters to therapy. Black fathers don't take care of their daughters in this way, because admitting that your child needs a therapist is a blow to your ego and feels like an indictment of your parenting, like you're not doing a good job. So instead, we hypertension, ghost story and father fable, and useless sage advice them with our unnecessary masculinity. Tell them allegories about the strength of their Black skin, their natural hair, and how the rivers of their ancestors waded through will get them to be strong, to get them to overlook the need for mental health, to tell them that their bloodline and a fix-it-all Jesus will be enough to make you unsad. Because Black fatherhood says, don't let them into your mind. Don't let them into your body. Robitussin and the Bible are always the perfect home remedy. This session is only an hour, but I need it to last a lifetime. I need it to lift her from a rock bottom, to rise her in the morning when the depression is so heavy that not even her grandmother's Black girl magic stained in her DNA is enough to drag her out of bed. I need her to know it's okay to not be okay. The music is a blend of annoying and truth. She walks out of the session, a smile etched into her face. I want to trust that that's a breakthrough, but fathers will always carry worry and question, because I think that's what good fathers do. So I question, and I wonder if I will ever be enough of a John Mayer song for this Black girl. I hope y'all still rocking with me. Yeah, why not start off super heavy? So with that, yeah, I love my little girls. Like they are my world. So I'm gonna do another poem down the line for my youngest daughter. But I figure, why not get into some other stuff that's real personal? So me, I'm a type 2 diabetic. right? Not a lot of people know that. It's not like I'm wearing a t-shirt that says I'm type 2. That's not me. But I do say that because I kind of share the work and what it means to be sort of taking a responsibility for my own health. So this poem was born of me finding out that I was type 2. It's scary when your metabolism has slowed down so much that your mother's diabetes has enough time to catch up with you and blur your vision, but not so much that you can't read your grandmother's blueprint for a lower leg amputation. We swallow recipes passed down from generation to generation. You make them according to tradition, according to the way you was raised. They must taste the same. They all must have sugar in them, even the chicken soup for the soul. I got the sugar when I was 39, according to recipe, according to the way Black families are made. We were served plates of love. The love was sweet. It had sugar in it. I loved love. The taste was addictive. Love was in grits. Some find that kind of blasphemous, but when the morning is cold and your grandmother's voice is a fireplace, her hands warm coals that cooked food, you swallow that love whole without asking about the ingredients. The preparation alone was enough. Her pushing love through the cracks of her bones was enough. I swallow metformin to balance out the love or lack thereof, not sure of the science of my sugar. There's science, a history, a ledger left in my grandmother's blood. A page was ripped out when they took her left leg after Alzheimer's took her husband. My grandfather's Alzheimer's was scary, is scary. It is a reminder of my inheritance, the things I will collect when I get older. For now, I am collecting from my grandmother. She had so much sugar to give. Cool. Yeah, I know. Like, why is this dude going so heavy? I hope y'all are enjoying it. I'm loving that I get to share poems that I don't often get to share. So this is so much fun for me to do these poems. So all right, I'm gonna lighten the mood just touch, y'all don't mind. So I am 40 something. I don't mind saying it. I'm 40 something years old. And back in the day, we used to go like to this. There's an amusement park where I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, called Carowinds, and they had this amazing ride called Thunder Road. Now I say this because when I was 18, 17 at the time, the ride was amazing. Right. And I say amazing now because it's amazing that we didn't die. Listen, I rode this thing right before they tore it out when I was like I think I just turned 40. And so they were getting rid of this ride, which they should have done sooner because this motherfucker would have killed me. But anyway, so I wrote this poem after thinking about all the amusement parks I've ever been to, all the state fairs. And I like to have fun with my poetry. I love to make people laugh with poems. So I want to go to an amusement park that's dangerous. Like, make me sign a series of forms and waivers because I'm entering at my own risk. Hopping on a ride that will most likely result in a slipped disc. Give me something dangerous, just so I can have stories to tell my grandchildren that start off something like this. Back in my day, bumper cars did 35 miles an hour and ran off diesel fuel. Back in my day, roller coasters were wood made and tied together with zip ties. And if you didn't die, then you got a t-shirt that said, I rode the Widowmaker and survived. Back in my day, there weren't no height requirements. Every man, woman, and child took 2 shots of Epicac, climbed into the Gravitron while a dude named Randy with 3 fingers on each hand yells out, all right, goddammit, hold on. Back in my day, the teacups could easily pull 6 Gs. No food was gluten-free. We ate what we wanted. The haunted house was actually fucking haunted. Our amusement park was in part built on cursed burial ground. We lost 6 kids in the summer of '89. The customer service was sketchy. Miss Gladys in the ticket booth with a gold tooth kept a loaded handgun in plain sight next to a sign that said, "I wish you would." And don't get me started on the petting zoo. You know how we washed our hands when we were through petting a gorilla, cow, rattlesnake, wolverine, or kangaroo? We didn't, because back in my day, that was amusement. Okay, so that was that was a little poem about the beauty and the dangers of amusement parks, right? Because I don't know, does anybody else remember like back in the day when we were just petting shit and they were like, it was cool, and now then we got COVID and all that, but you know, we were petting animals right in the mouth. It was really crazy. So I talked about my daughter earlier, and this one is for her. I wrote this when she was 3, and this is based off a true story. To all the women warriors, freedom fighters, ballroom broad divas brandishing brass knuckles while wearing an evening gown. To every lady who's ever laced up a corset and comp boots, packed a piece in your purse or a stiletto to match your stiletto heels, congratulations. You've been reborn in the body and soul of my 3-year-old. She's a walking street fight, toughest toddler at her daycare. She knows that nap time is for suckers, because someone has to stay up and keep watch over the toys, cookies, and juice. She is living proof that you don't have to teach kids loyalty, because during a routine pillow fight where I made her older sister cry, she turned on me with all fury in her eyes, came at me, and bit me just above the knee. Shit hurt like hell. But I can tell you, it was the most honest emotion that I ever felt. It was a message left in tooth imprint. It was almost articulate as her saying, "Don't you ever fuck with my big sister again." Y'all, that fight, that ambition to defend transcended any relationship between daughter and father, and that didn't bother me a bit, because she only saw the danger and reacted to it. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I'll probably get a few phone calls from the principal's office about how my daughter tried to fight some chick 2 times her size because this chick came out her mouth sideways about her big sis, and this will be completely expected. Nothing less from the lion-hearted. To rush into a burning building of situations, to shoot first and wait till later to ask the who, what, and why questions. Ladies, she will be the kind of friend that you cannot give all of the information, because she'll be outside your lover's house waiting with a brick about the size of justified revenge, ready to fight them in front of their friends, and will call the police if she doesn't win. But until then, oh, she's my little Napoleon complex with sippy cup. Hands just big enough to hold my heart, and stolen cookie from no counter, the counter reaction to every fear I've ever had as a dad, wondering if someone's going to try to steal a kiss or her heart, and chances are they will. But not before they taste her temper, recognize that she is a fighter and will be swept away by their charming breeze. She already owns the wind. She came into this world a hurricane, a natural force to be reckoned with. She can wear pain like women wear a wedding dress. They should be lucky to even know her name. To know for the sake of everything she loves dearly, she would fight her own father tooth and nail. Literally. So to every woman who's ever held a fist in defense of the helpless, congratulations. Your fight still lives. Listen, I got one more. I appreciate y'all kicking it with me. I'm so excited to talk to Chibi and Eddie. So I'm gonna get this last poem out of here. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to just listen, especially in this world that we're living in, and you know, where we have to sit still. I appreciate you sitting still long enough to hear these poems. So thank you. In the beginning, they wanted you silent. They wanted you to turn down, but when you were born, your skin became soundtrack. Background music to our history, an old slave's new freedom song, a civil rights march sang in the tune of "We Shall Overcome," the funk of a black exploitation flick. The rhythm in your boom box of a chest became movement. When you were born so loud. Because God composed you with jazz hands through Big Band theory, Big Banged you out on Beat Machine. You are a black Beethoven walking this world with J Dilla dripping through your veins. Your genius, Herbie Hancock, back ready to blast shots of righteous soul. There's a howling wolf wailing from your gut, an electric Hendrix in your liver, Prince and Otis Redding in full concert in your chin. There's earth, wind, and fire in your lungs. There's a Mississippi Delta blues in your bones, boy, a Southern gospel choir in your laughter. Turn down. For what? Because the music churning inside you scares them enough to pump bullets into your vehicle at a gas station. For the day a Michael Dunn pulls a gun on you for how loud your skin sounded that he could barely hear his own ignorance and fear over the cranked up decibels of God rocking through your body. I want you to tell me, what song were your eyes playing? What station was your body tuned into? It must have been FM Heavenly Station, and you were seventh caller because you won grand prize, called home. Your body was playing the same theme song that black boys seem to die to. Your melanin is a cranked up volume, turned down. For what? So they can forget how beautiful you sounded. Forget how hard the fight in your voice echoed against this society that stereotypically views you by the millions dying on YouTube, a society that views you best as a problem solved by pretending your rights and your justice don't exist. The close of your casket is deafening. Your death will never be BDS coded, so it won't be on the radio, although your murder will always be requested. Their fear has become music for black boys to die to. Sounds like they got prison bars to rhyme through, like they got a shoddy record deal of a court-appointed lawyer and keep getting screwed. We can't pump up the jam like we used to. Too busy ducking down and dodging bullets aimed at you. This caliber of music they're giving these black boys to dance to is dangerous. It won a Grammy by selling so much hysteria. Track produced by Jim Crow America. They threw us a holy mackerel of a Macklemore MC, a hip-hop red herring to distract us from hearing that America still has black youth dying, that these cities still have black youth dying, that Philly still has black youth dying, Charlotte still has black youth dying, LA, New York, Houston, Dallas, Miami, Baltimore, Kentucky, you name the city, and we will be there dying. The sound of their bodies falling was so turned up. The sound of mothers crying was so turned up that eardrums erupted and faded into white noise. And eardrums erupted and faded into white noise. The sound fading into white noise. The sound fading into white noise. Black boys, they are trying to silence you one injustice at a time. But I don't want you to ever forget. I don't ever want you to forget the volume of your greatness, how scared they are of how big you sound. When they ask you to keep your spirit down, I want you to show them how your soul gets crunk. That's when you turn around and let the sound of God pour out your mouth. You tell them, turn down. For what? Yeah, I appreciate it. That's my time with my poems. Thank you so much. This has been great. I feel that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I feel those applause. They are the truth. They are the truth.
And I want to cut that music later, but I have to make an apology because something was pointed out to me. That though I might have a lot of friends named De La Garza, De La Torre, De La Peña, that it's not De La Sol, that it's De La Sol.
It's all good.
Excuse me.
I was like, he's just reading it like it's supposed to be read. That's De La Sol. That's what it says.
That's cool. You know what? I did the same thing when I first called up. I was hosting a slam, and Eddie Figures was coming up, and I was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Eddie Figures." So yeah, we just automatically translate everything into the Spanish pronunciation.
Yeah.
I want to ask you.
Right.
I want to start because you started off heavy.
Okay.
So we're going to start heavy. In that first poem, you talk about your daughter seeing a therapist, mental health. And I think we all know that in communities of color, specifically, there is a stigma about mental health and about getting therapy and asking for help in general. So I'm really curious, like, how was that journey for you to get to that, to get your daughter, to see a therapist and, like, continue to grow in her development? And
that's a great question, because it was a lot and then not a lot, right? So the very idea that she needed therapy was one. We had to identify that, right? We had to be like, all right, she needs something that obviously we cannot give her. And so when you recognize that, you have to have a conversation with yourself. As a Black man, a Black father, I'm supposed to be able to take care of my kids no matter what. Like, I should never need. So I have to break that shit, first of all. And then when you do that, you're saying, that's, like I said, it's an indictment on your parenting. Like, am I not doing a good job? What's wrong with me? Can I not do this? So you have to get over yourself, right? Be like, yo, fucker, it's not about you. Your daughter needs help. So once I got past that, I was like, all right, cool. This is what we need to do. And shouts out to my wife, because she was really on it. Like, she was like, all right, this is what we need to do, because one, neither one of us can know the tools to help this little girl, because neither one of us had therapy. You know what I'm saying? We grew up just, like most people of color, our parents were like, just get over it. Like, whatever's wrong with you, stop crying and get over it. So once we recognized that part, we definitely sought her help. And we also got to use the tools, right? We also got to use the tools that help her when the times get rough, when she's depressed, and, when she just needs the pick me up, and all the strategies that she was going to be able to use to just bring her out of whatever she was in. But yeah, man, the biggest part of it was getting over my lack of knowledge of what it meant. Like, I recognized early on that I could say everything in the world about how much I love her, about how much she's special, about all the things, but it don't mean shit when you're in it. You know what I'm saying? When you're depressed, and it doesn't matter who's talking to you. And once I was like, all right, I can't do this. She needs to hear it from someone else. She needs to be able to open up and vent to someone else who is not me. Because even though I say I'm the safest space in the world, it's still your dad, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you say that, but I can't tell you the shit that's in my head, because you're gonna freak out, and I can't take those chances. But yeah, man, that's a great question. It took a process of me getting over my own sort of insecurities about it, and being enough of a father to say, my baby needs help. Can you help her? Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you still find that there were like obstacles within your family, your friends, who would still maybe, like, you were maybe afraid to tell them that this was going on, or did it become more comfortable for them because they probably were going through some of the same things?
I found that for the folks I did decide to share with, they were like, yo, that's huge. They were like, that's big. They were like, thank you. And like, you're a great dad. And I was getting a lot of that. And I was a little embarrassed of that, because I was like, I don't want to be considered a great dad. I just, I'm just doing what a dad's supposed to do. That shouldn't make me father of the year. I'm just making sure my baby's okay. But I think for the most part, like, a conversation with my mom, and she was like, that's really good. That's really smart. And we never went, any further. Like, do you think you and I should have had some therapy sessions? So, but we kind of left it there. And I think for the most part, I'm a balanced enough human being that, all the shit that's going on with me, I can't directly blame her for, because some of those were my life decisions. But she's been a really great parent, dealing with what she's dealt with and doing the best that she could. And I recognize that. And I could only recognize that now being a parent, because there were some things that my daughters took me through, and they weren't bad. It was just the worry, it was just the worry about, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Why is she did it? And I was like, holy shit, did I do all this to my mom? And also I was like, Mom, my bad, my bad. I was probably an asshole when I was 15. I'm sorry. But yeah, man, I think that part of knowing that my mom was good with it, was I sort of a confirmation that I was sort of looking for and not looking for.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you talk about being a parent. How did being a parent change your poetry?
Tons. A lot of the stuff that I wrote sort of, and I don't know where I'm at in my career. I don't know if I'm in the twilight years of my career. I have no idea where I'm at. I know when she showed up, I knew like all the poems just started coming about being a dad and what it meant, and actually even before her, like my stepson, I met him when he was 8, and my first sort of dad poem was Joseph, and was about him and getting to know him and raising this black boy that wasn't necessarily mine, but he's in my charge. Like, as long as you live with me and I'm responsible for you, you are my son, and that's what's going to happen. So being a parent really transformed the way I looked at my approach to writing, especially in terms of responsibilities. Before I was a dad, I was just writing about anything, and it didn't matter. It was fun though. Like, I had fun, but it didn't have any sort of, I wasn't looking to impact anything. I wasn't looking to hit anything. I was just writing, just getting shit out. But I think once I had some sort of focus and direction, I had focus and direction. And then poems got a little bit more serious. Poems got a little bit more, had a little bit more of an angle to them, a little bit more of a direction, if you will. But they got to be more personable. I think that's what really sparked up, was I got to look at myself and share myself a little bit more through the introspection, because I was a father now. Like, I think these poems will be the record that I leave behind for my kids, because they get what I do, but they could give a fuck. Like, they're just like, my dad's a poet, and it's you could read that entire bio to my daughter, she'll be like, but is my cell phone going to get paid from it? Like, that's kind of where they are. So I understand it. I understand it because I used to be that age and didn't have real interest in what my parents were doing. But I'm hoping that when they're old enough, they can kind of look back on some of the things that I've done and things that I've written and say, yeah, my dad loved me, and he loved me enough to use his art to tell me.
Well, props to you, for taking the decisions to like take care of your kids and how that's evolved in your poetry. And maybe the tequila is skewing my memory, but you were a part of a show called Daddy Issues, right?
Yeah. I was.
Yeah. With a bunch of other poets that were fathers. That was phenomenal. I went and watched it, and I have furry kids at the moment, but it was just so great to hear you guys like just be real about like the struggles of fatherhood and raising kids. And so just props to you on being a fantastic dad, is from
Thank
what
you.
It seems. I want to ask, because I don't think we ever had an Emmy winner on this show. So I have to ask.
Okay.
One, what was it for? And two, how was that? How did it come about?
So the Emmy that I won, there's 3. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, you did.
Because each one is different. Each one is different. The one that's most memorable is for making of a masterpiece. I did with Raycom Sports. So there's a big basketball rivalry between the University of North Carolina, the Blue Devils, and the Tar Heels, right? It's super big, especially here in North Carolina. And before every game, they used to do these really epic openers. So they'd go and do a video shoot and da-da-da. So one particular year, they were like, and I'd been working with them for a year, and they were like, yo, do you want to write the opener? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to write the opener. So I did this poem about making of a masterpiece, and it was a blueprint. It was really cool. It was all shot in a blue hue, and all the cliche things of a sports little opener that you could think of. And so that ran on CBS and I think ESPN that year. It was cool. It was cool to do. It was cool to see. And so the Emmy Awards come around, and we submitted that for the Emmy Awards. And this particular Emmy Awards was happening. I didn't go, but you could watch it online. So I get home. I forgot what I was doing, but I just remembered like, oh, they're showing the telecast or whatever. So I go home, log on to my computer, and as I'm logging on, our category comes up, and the category is for sports opener, or it's sports opener for something. It's really niche, but it was fun. So I get there, I put in, the little code, and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh shit, talk about perfect timing. And they're calling the names out, and they say, and the winner is Making of a Masterpiece, Raycon Sports, and they're saying the names. I'm like, whoa, whoa. I'm in the house screaming my head off. Everybody runs in, and they're like, what's wrong? It's like, we won. And my daughters are like, what'd you win? I'm like, I won an Emmy. They're like, nice. And they walk out. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? I won an Emmy. And they were like, yeah, we are going back to our dinner. You're screaming like a maniac for no good reason at all. So, and that goes back to where I'm saying my kids could give a shit. But for that moment, it was surreal. It was so like the fact that I just walked in, logged in right there, boom, boom, boom. It's like I didn't have to wait for anything. It was just like instant. And it was incredible, man. It was so incredible. And I'm super proud of it. Like, I'm super proud of that.
Oh, wow. Well, the other one that I'm kind of curious about, the other accolade, is I have to tell you a little bit before that. I have a cousin who was a casualty in Iraq, and some years later, there was a NASCAR race where they put, I think it was Memorial Day weekend, they put the soldiers who had passed on the cars, and Donica Patrick drove the car with my cousin's name on it on the side and stuff, and his picture and whatnot. And I saw the pictures later on of my uncle and my aunt going to this thing, and I kept wondering, I was like, this is great, but I wonder how they're going to react when they see what my aunt and my uncle look like at this NASCAR race, right? Because NASCAR isn't traditionally like a space for people of color, and but you are like the voice of NASCAR, and what is that like?
So yeah, at the time I was doing a lot with NASCAR, and that was amazing. And the way that I got into it was it's like sort of another serendipitous kind of thing. So here we have this magazine called Creative Loafing. And it's just this, it's everything you would think. It's an artsy magazine. It talks about arts and what's going on and politics and blah, blah, blah. And then they did this, I don't want to say expose. It's not an expose. It was literally like this little blurb about me, like a little thing. And it's, what are your hobbies? I said, I love soccer. I played soccer since I was 10. And I love NASCAR, da, da, da. It was just quick. And one of the producers from NASCAR saw it, and he was like, he gave me a call. It's like, listen, my name is Kevin Jackson. I'm really with NASCAR, because at the time everybody was saying they were with NASCAR, but they weren't. I don't know what the scam was at the point, but it was enough for him to say what he said. So he was like, yeah, come down. Let's talk about, this project. And I go down and I go to their offices. And I'm like, this is cool. And they're like, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a shoot, and, we're going to do it in Indianapolis, and we're going to take about 2 days to do it, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right. I was still thinking he's just bullshitting, right? I get home and I get a phone call from a number I didn't know. And I was like, hello. And she was like, hi, Boris, we need and she just got right to it. We need your social and your birthday. And I'm like, yo, first of all, who are you? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I believe her name was Joni. I cannot remember. But yeah, we're booking the tickets so you can fly to Indianapolis and da da da." So that's when it got real. I was like, "Oh shit, we're really doing this." And we flew to Indianapolis, did 2 days. We did an amazing shoot, and it ran, and the bag was nice. So we get back. They run the shoot that we did, and mind you, for this part of it, it's called a quick turnaround. So it's like we get notes Monday, we do shoot Tuesday, they edit Wednesday, and it's ready by Sunday. And that's what our week looked like. Because once we got back and they aired it, the response was so good. NASCAR was like, "Yo," NASCAR and Sprint, they were like, "Yo, let's do the rest of the season. Bet, let's do a whole nother year. Bet, let's do a whole nother year." So it ended up being like 3 years of that, which was super cool. But yeah, man, the funniest part was after the second year, I'm at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that's, if you wanted to say NASCAR had a home, it was there. And I'm walking, I forgot where I was going. I think I was headed to Red Bull, had a tent at the time. So I'm walking back to the Red Bull tent, and this guy walks up, no shirt on, cargo shorts. I believe he was wearing sneakers or flip-flops, but he was sunburnt, and he was just as red as the neck it could be. And he walks up, he's drunk. I know he's drunk, and he's like, "Hey man, hey." And I'm like, okay, here we go. He's about to throw nigger at me right now. I'm like, I gotta be ready. I gotta be ready for it. I'm like, you can't react out here because this is not the place you won't win. And I'm like, all right. I was like, "Hey man." He's like, "Yo, hey, you're the guy. You're the rap guy from the commercials." He kept calling me the rap guy because what we do is rap to everybody else. It's not poetry. It's always rap.
Sure.
You're the rap guys. And I was like, "Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Oh man, that's so amazing what you do. I really appreciate it. I've never heard about the sport talked about like that." He was like real with a lot of gratitude. And I was not ready for that. I was ready for everything else. But that was another sort of confirmation to say, listen, what you do and what you've been doing is impacting someone. And you're casting a different perspective of who you are and who they think Black folks are. And I guess they're not a monolith. They are very diverse in what we do. And we also love the sport. And we also do these other things. But I think just that moment alone was him really tackling the moment to say, "I see you. I appreciate what you do, even though I'm amongst all these motherfuckers who would tell me different." And I was like, all right, man, if all the checks in the world and everything else, that was sort of the biggest confirmation for me, because he was a complete stranger. We are complete polar opposites of probably what we think and do. But he took his time and sobered up enough to tell me about my poetry and my work. So yeah, man. So when we talk about walking into spaces like that, Eddie, you're always like head on a swivel, but some folks will just surprise the shit out of you, and you're like, "Yo, that was dope."
Well, as they say in the South, hot damn.
Hot damn.
So that's a little bit about your past. Let's talk a little bit about your present and your future. You are now the Director of Creative Engagement for Blumenthal Performing Arts.
Yes.
Can you briefly tell us what Blumenthal Performing Arts is, for those that don't know, and what your new role is and how you plan to blossom, bloom, thrive?
So Blumenthal is how do I say this and not sound like a dick? Like it's the performing arts center probably in North Carolina. Like they're huge. It's huge. We bring Broadway shows. We bring Hamilton, Lion King, Mary Poppins, do you name it, it comes through here. So they're huge. Operate out of 6 theaters in the city. And what they recognize is that they are, like, especially in this COVID season, that they are a machine, a very efficient machine, very dope at what they do, but they don't always have the community touch. They don't always have sort of the grassroots connection to. So what they, and I've worked with them for years, like our slams. We've run our slams out of their theaters for the past 15, 16 years. So the relationship has always been there. Things that we've been able to do with them and partner with them. So for them to offer me a job was an invitation to do more inside the community and really reflect the artistry of people of color that are living in the city. And it, the timing was a little, with everything that's been happening, corporations are trying to get ahead of things. But for this part of it, it wasn't like they just hired anybody off the street to just put a black face to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was because I knew a lot of people doing a lot of fucking things, and I can make that work. So what I do is I literally look for, and at this point, and I say this, I lean towards my friends, like, because I know these people who are doing the work. Sure. And they've been out here for years. So why not? To get them into spaces that haven't traditionally been the spaces to get them into, that they haven't always had access to. So it's working out relationships and partnerships with them to allow more access, but not just for them, for the folks in the community who can't go to theaters. Because y'all tell me, how many times did your parents be like, yo, we're going to the theater this weekend? Hell no. My parents were like, yo, if you don't go sit your ass down while I make this food and so I can go to bed and go to work, they were busy making sure we stayed alive, and they didn't have too much time to kind of indulge those artistic things. So a part of else, what I want to do is be able to give access to folks who don't have access, who don't have the opportunity to do that. And those could be black, white, brown, whoever. It's more those who don't have the income to access the arts like that. Yeah. So we figure out ways to do that. We figure out ways to let the artists thrive in the community that they live in. See what we have. Blumenthal, all the theaters are what we call uptown. So it's like the bigger part of the city, Charlotte proper, if you will. But what I want to be able to do is let artists thrive in the neighborhood that they are in. So if we can find the spaces that we can put them in where folks can come see them and they don't have to take 3 buses or an Uber or horse and buggy to get to them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We want to be able to do that. So that's pretty much what I'm assigned to do.
Now, are you originally from Charlotte?
No, I moved here in '94. So, I mean, basically, I'm from Charlotte at this point. But my dad was in the military. So we moved around. I've lived in Vegas, Washington State, Germany for a time. And then I graduated. We moved to when we got from Germany, we moved to South Carolina. And South Carolina is where I pretty much did off the rest of my schooling, if you will. I graduated from there and moved up to Charlotte.
So, I guess, but you're still there. You seem to be a real big part of Charlotte, or I should say, Charlotte is a real big part of you. Like, to somebody not from there, tell us what is it about that city that's so special?
The amazing thing about this city, Eddie, is I've watched it grow, and it's helped me grow. Charlotte was I don't want to say it was a small town. It was a banking town for sure, and it still is. But when I got here, it was sure as shit banking. Like, that was the thing. But there wasn't much development. I went to the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and around that area was a lot of woods. There was a lot of trees. And if we fast forward all the way to now, it's a booming metropolis. We're fighting gentrification. We have that problem. We're big enough to have a gentrification problem, and it's a serious one. We're big enough to have an affordable housing problem, and it's serious. We're big enough to where when police murder someone, we make national news. That's where we are. So this town is amazing, and it's full of amazing folks who are super creative. And with that, this town is also very trendy. It's also very, what have you done for me lately? It's because we've seen a lot of the artists who come from the city move away, who move to an Austin, who move to an LA, who move to a New York, and get a lot of support. And it's frustrating as fuck because I know there's money here. I know there are opportunities here, but we don't embrace the arts like we should. We produce a lot of really great artists from this town, but we don't give them the love and support that we should. Well, I could say that about 5 years ago, that was really, really true. We're making a really strong turn now. Like, they're really kind of seeing, hey, we're losing really great, talented artists who are showing up in these other towns. And then we find out, they're from right up the road. And like, how did we lose them? Well, the motherfuckers didn't pay them. That's why, shit like that. But this city is full of really wonderful, amazing, genuine artists. Like the artists who live here are very passionate and genuine about what they do. And I think that's part of it for me that keeps me here. And it's a great town to raise a family in. It's gotten dangerous this year. I worry a little bit about that, but for the most part, it's still affordable for right now. But it's trending away from that. But all in all, it's a great city. It's a great town. Like any other city, it has its problems, but I think the artists here, the folks who create here, who love on this city with their craft and their work, are really the big draw for me.
So let me ask you, I started asking these questions during Hispanic Heritage Month, where I was like, what's your favorite thing about where you're from and what's your favorite dish? And then I realized I can do this regardless of where people are from. So Eddie kind of asked the first part about like, what do you love about where you live, Charlotte? So let me ask you, what is your favorite North Carolinian dish?
Whew, that is a great question. And hard to answer because we have a lot of great foods. There's a and people are gonna, if they see this, they're gonna throw bricks at me. There's a really great chicken spot. Ooh. And it runs out of a gas station. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, there's a gas station on South Boulevard that has the most amazing fried chicken in wedges, I think, in the county, probably in the state. It's just so good. Like it's simple. It's when you're coming out of the club drunk, or if you're just trying to grab lunch in the middle of the day, it is some of the best food that there is. So there's that, and then there's probably there's so many good spots here. Probably another spot is Mertz. They have really great cornbread and these sort of collard green egg rolls. Like,
okay,
it's
what?
so good. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I just want to go back to this, that you're saying that there's a place where like you get out of the club, get out of the bar at 2:00 in the morning and you can get fried chicken. Okay, we need that here.
We need that.
We need that. Okay, because I love tacos, and I get tacos anywhere, any time of day. But sometimes about that time of night, like I wrote about this on Facebook, I don't know, some years ago, and some of my friends were like, "Yeah, I thought I was the only one that wanted fried chicken at that hour." I'm like, "No."
Listen,
I went to Jim's restaurant off 410 to get fried chicken.
That is like, when I say it is a thing, when people talk about it, if you ask folks from Charlotte, where can I get fried chicken? And they'll probably name this gas station. And it's a like, and I'm not talking like a fancy gas station, like a QT or anything like that. It's a fucking gas station. Like,
yeah.
You get gas there. There's probably someone outside trying to bum $1. There's probably, I think the last time I was there, there was a slight police chase down the road.
A mini one.
just it was enough to make everybody in the restaurant, in the gas station, go, okay, and go right back to what they were doing. But yeah, it's amazing. Like I think the first place that happens in your town that starts serving fried chicken after the club closes or whatever is going to be like big business.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you said fried chicken, because a few months ago we had Ed Mabry on here. We had a discussion about barbecue, and he threw North Carolina barbecue under the bus hardcore. So yeah. I didn't want to have that fight with you.
Yeah, because, and this will probably get me beat up, North Carolina barbecue is really vinegar based, right?
It's all vinegar.
Right. And I'm not a fan of vinegar based. Like, you give me, and this isn't because you guys are in Tejas, but I love Texas barbecue. Like, so I love the way it's smoked, and it's like, yeah, I get it. It's some of the best. That and some St. Louis barbecue too. So,
well, you know what? Ed didn't even like. He didn't go to Memphis. He didn't go to St. Louis. He didn't go to Texas. He didn't go to North Carolina. He went to Miami. And he said that was like some of the best barbecue.
And we have lost Bluz.
There's only one place in Miami that I've had really great barbecue, and it's also ran out of like an obscure place out of this church. I cannot remember the name of it, but it's really great. It's amazing. I won't say it's the best, but it'll do. It'll do.
So let me ask you real quick, because I have no concept of time anymore. There was a Southern Fried that happened in Fayetteville, North Carolina, in the past. And so us from Texas, we drove up there and drove through South Carolina to get into North Carolina. For those that don't know, the difference between North Carolina and South Carolina is what?
It's
more bricks to be thrown. Okay.
It's a good question. I would almost gas prices. that might be the biggest difference. I do feel like, and this is crazy, but some folks will agree, I feel like it's just hotter in South Carolina. I don't know why that is. It legit feels fucking hotter down there, and it's not. And it shouldn't. Like, there's no real big geographical difference between where we are. But I feel like once you cross the border, things just get hotter. I do think there's a deeper sense of appreciation for history in North Carolina, and for folks in North Carolina. And this is me saying this as a person who graduated high school and from South Carolina. Like, I went to elementary school and middle school and high school in South Carolina, and I love it. It's a great place if you grew up there and understand where you are and get an appreciation from it. And it has its shitty parts. Like, it does have its shitty parts, but I think North Carolina has a better appreciation for some cultural things. And I think that might be like the only difference. And that's just strictly my opinion. That's strictly my opinion and my experience. But the real difference, gas prices. I swear to God, people will drive down to South Carolina to get the cheaper gas. And it's not just like a nickel cheaper. It might be like 15 cents sometimes cheaper, maybe 20. Like, and you'll be pissed because it's literally you cross the border and the price drops and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, for real.
Yeah.
We're getting robbed up here.
Yes, I don't know.
I mean, I guess my question came because like Texas is so big that we eat like rival cities, right? Austin versus San Antonio versus Houston versus Dallas, whatever. But I didn't know.
Also, apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
We still left out, and we just did it. Yeah.
Didn't know if there was a North Carolina versus South Carolina battle happening.
Nah, not really. Nah, not really.
Yeah, within the state, I mean, Duke versus North Carolina. Right.
Like, that happens a lot. You get the Duke stuff versus Carolina. NC State gets thrown in there a lot. So yeah. There's a lot of in-state battles with that.
All right. So then we're gonna segue a little bit and maybe into music. But first question is best musical act to come out of North Carolina.
Whew. And God. If we're considering hip hop, I would say Fonte from Little Brother as a whole. And then if you start breaking it up, then you've got Ninth Wonder, you got Big Pooh, and then you got Fonte. Fonte is doing a lot of really great, amazing work. I always say Drake is the great value Fonte. If you know Fonte's work and you heard Drake, you'd be like, oh, that is so true. So Fontigolo is really dope.
The audience agrees.
Yeah. Gosh, who else is coming out of North Carolina? Of course, you got G Yamazawa, who's doing his thing straight out of Durham. He's super dope. And the baby is, he's super popular. I don't think he's the best thing to come out of the state, but he's, I respect his grind and his craft of what he's been able to do with the genre. And then that's where I'm at right now, because there's some other folks out here who are doing some big things, but I just don't think they're popping yet.
Yeah.
So
So you mentioned privately, but it's not private anymore. That you like 80s music.
I do.
So I have some 80s musical questions for you.
Okay.
This is the part where I remove myself from the conversation because I hate 80s music.
Oh no.
No, you don't have to do that. You could come back in, but all right, here's a few. Best song by the Jets.
Oh, probably Head to Toe.
Okay. Best Bryan Adams song.
Bryan Adams. You gotta love the Canadians. I'm drawing a blank on Bryan Adams right now.
Oh no, there's a bunch of soundtracks, of course, but like some of those are 90s, but
Yeah.
But those there's some they're like bridge 80s 90s, so we're gonna excuse that one. Tiffany versus Debbie Gibson.
Battle of the Mall Queens. We're gonna have to go Deborah Gibson because she calls herself Deborah now.
Deborah. Culture Club versus Wham.
Oh, Culture Club all day.
Men at Work versus Human League.
Fuck. I'm gonna go Men at Work. Laying down under all day.
Soundtracks. Footloose versus Top Gun.
Wow, Eddie, you did your homework too. Wow, because
I had to say that.
Right, because Top Gun gave us some mega hits, man. And then Footloose alone, the theme song to the movie alone was enough. I'm still gonna have to ride with Top Gun. I think even just because of the theme music was enough.
That's right. Yeah. Plus, I think Top Gun has a better range of songs.
Right.
Are primarily all dance songs.
Right.
Or like certain types of dance songs. But the Top Gun, you got like the Take My Breath Away, you got slow stuff, and then also like Kenny Loggins stuff.
Yeah.
Def Jam versus Death Row.
Damn, Eddie. That's tough because Def Jam gave us foundational hip hop, and Death Row gave us, I feel like, transitional hip hop into something different. They gave us gangsta. Oh my God, that's tough. I'm gonna be an old school purist and go with Def Jam because Def Jam begats Death Row.
All right. Breaking versus Beat Street.
Ooh. Oh God. I'm probably gonna get jumped on the street, but I'm gonna go with Breakin because
really?
Yeah, because that's the movie I saw in the theater. Like I saw Beat Street and I got it, but it just and I hate to say it, Breakin was so commercial and so digestible. Like it was easier for me to just consume that. Although I got the authenticity of Beat Street though. That was dope for the culture, but Breakin was just more fun. It was just more fun to watch.
I could see that. Don't totally see that. All right. Before I go into other like battles, best act to come out of Kids Incorporated.
That's a great one because I don't remember anything that came out of Kids Incorporated.
Oh no. Okay, like best person, like we got Martika, we got Mario Lopez, we got Fergie, and Jennifer Hewitt.
Man, I might say Mario Lopez, and that's going to be a weird one because I think he's just managed to stay balanced enough. I would say Fergie, but then Fergie sang that national anthem, which spiraled everything for her.
Oh, he's back.
You're back for that one, huh?
that was
Mario Lopez because he was like the one Hispanic person on there. But now since he looks the same as he did back on,
right?
Because like he's too pretty. We can't age. You got to age,
somewhere. Like Somehow, like grow a gray hair somewhere, dude. Something.
You can't even say it. Nah, I don't know. All right. This is the last of those battle ones, so we can bring back it because we're missing Chibi. But here's the last one, and I don't know how you feel about this. Whitney versus Janet.
See. My God, Whitney Houston versus Janet Jackson. You would think to go Janet because she had a dope an acting career that's, that Whitney never really kind of got. I'm going with Whitney because Whitney she's a pure singer. Like Janet, and this is gonna sound fucked up. Janet had a lot riding on the name. Like she got that coattails. Janet can sing, but she can't Whitney sing. Right. And while Whitney can't Janet dance, she don't have to. Like bitch, I'm finna sing the shit out of this song. You can dance all you want to, but I'm finna sing the shit out of this song.
You got singer versus pop star, basically. I think that's
right. When Dolly Parton says, "I wrote that song, but it's not my song anymore," that's when you know that you've done some shit. And you've done some shit.
I'm going to go ahead and confess that those last two names were the only ones I recognized out of that entire battle. So I'm really glad that I just knew Fergie. I knew Fergie, but I didn't know where did she come from? Culture Kid? I have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
See, no idea.
Did you watch it, Bluz?
I didn't watch that one.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't watch that one.
I might have been one of the only people that watched it, but it was a kid show. One of these comes after, I don't know if it came on Saturday. It was syndicated, I think.
Yeah.
But it was about a band of literally like a musical band of kids.
Same. No idea. But so let's finish off on this point then, on the point of music. You have an album coming out. You've got music dropping, currently available on Spotify and Apple Music. Tell us a little bit about this new song project that's coming through.
So the project is called Duologue, and it's in works with this amazing singer-songwriter producer Anthony Rodriguez of Soulganic. He goes by Enron now. It's so cool. But during the pandemic, it's still happening. When we first started, when things were going wonky, we were really getting into this space of trying to figure things out, and he's always just shot me music. And then I just texted him one day. I said, "Collab?" And he was like, "Yes." So he shot me beats and shot me some music, and his music is just so different because he's like a musician, not just, I can sample tracks and I'm really good at it, but he plays a couple different instruments. And so his ear is just really different. And it gave me a chance to not only just do poetry, but, sort of dig back into my MC roots, dig back into some different writing, and it offered me a chance to kind of sing a little bit. And I've dabbled with that. I'm not the best singer. I can probably hold a tune for like 5 seconds, and then after that it gets weird. But it was enough for me to do some songwriting, to try some shit, just try some shit. And it's an experimental album. And I don't mean experimental like the sounds get all weird, you got to smoke a bowl before you can really get it. It's just we're trying some different things that we don't normally get to do. So it was fun. There are messages behind it. And it's just really good music. It's vibe music, as the young folks would say. It's a vibe. It's vibe music. So yeah.
Cool. Well, the single "Stronger" is available now on Spotify and Apple Music. You can just look up Bluz, BLUZ, to find it. We were listening to it at the top of the show. I think if you try to find "Stronger," you're just going to get a bunch of Britney Spears remixes. So don't go that route. But thank you so much for spending this hour with us, letting us get to know a little bit more about you, your history, your work, your family, yourself. It has been a pleasure to be here.
I really appreciate it. And I got to send a big shout out to who's turned out to be a good friend, my man, Special Ed. I think he's tuned in. Yeah, I see him in the Facebook. I see Ed Archer in there, so that's super cool that that he popped up. And
Yeah.
that's also very surreal. Someone that you grew up listening to is, you know, now someone you can be like, yo, what are you doing? so yeah.
Even though it took 10 hours to figure out how to get here, but hey, he got here.
He got here.
Yeah, he got here. He got here. So that's what's up. But y'all, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on and just hang out with y'all. This is great. Because I miss y'all. Like Southern Fried, we didn't get to do that. So
yeah. Community. Yeah. Well, if you would do us the pleasure of just closing us out with one more poem, it would be our honor.
Got you. So, and I'm as I'm looking, because I forgot there was the one more poem that I was going to do. How about words and shit? I mean, we all use our words and shit, especially when we're going through shit. Like when we're going through some shit that seems ridiculous, that's some shit that seems insurmountable, like a mountain top that we can't ever get to the top of. We use our words to climb up, to level up, to use as ladders, you know, each rung sounds like a bell rung, maybe something higher. Words and shit. This all be freestyle, right? This all be off the top of the dome, but sometimes the dome also be home. Cliche, corny to say, but words and shit find a way into your heart, into your dome, into your heart space, into your head, and then they end up coming out during a Words and Shit podcast where Chibi and Eddie give you words and shit to say, give you a poem to deliver to the folks who are sitting at home. Thank you so much for tuning into this part of your life, to this part where you get to share art with another person who may not ever get to see you, but you know they have said some shit, words and shit that I hope are a gift to you, a gift that you can unwrap in a week or two when you are feeling at your worst, when you're staring up at that mountain again, when the ladder isn't high enough. I hope these words and shit will take you high enough to the top, to get you over the hump, to get you over the hump day into the weekend, until the week ends and you can end it with a smile. You can end it with a Chibi laugh. You can end it with an Eddie smartness. I know you folks are out there smiling, laughing. Continue to do so. No matter what this world gives you, continue to smile and laugh. Don't let it defeat you. Continue to smile and laugh. Don't let it defeat you. Continue to be you. Be beautiful. Be something amazing. Be something like words and shit. Be something like a gift to me, because I need that. I need your reflection back. I need the echo back of your words and shit. Maybe not the shit, but the words definitely need it.
Damn.
That's our first ever like freestyle at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that said everything about us. I think we should. This is being recorded, so we're probably going to use that as the intro now for everything. We're going to submit it to the Emmys. You know?
Yeah. Do it. We all win.
Ladies and gentlemen, three-time Emmy Award winner, Bluz, here on Words and Shit. Thank you so much for joining us.
That was awesome.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
Yeah. If anybody wants to tip the poet, make sure you do it. Cash App is Mr. Bluz, MRBLUZ. You can also follow him on Instagram, Bluz. That's BLUZ 3 times, or Mr. Bluz on Twitter. And then again, go check out his new album, Singles Out Now, Stronger, on Spotify or Apple Music. Thank you, Bluz, for joining us.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
And Chibi, we've got some amazing guests coming up. Who do we got next week?
We do. So next week we are bringing up, I guess we can call him a button poet. Button poet Adam Faulkner is coming on to the show. He just published a book this past year called The Willies. His videos have been all over the place on through Button Poetry. He's been on HBO, NBC, NPR, BET. I mean, just all over the place. So excited.
Person on here again.
More
Right.
famous people. We were supposed to see him back at AWP when it happened at here in San Antonio, but then COVID happened. So
Fuck COVID.
Missed encounters. But he will be here next week live 7:30 on Words and Shit.
That's
so
right.
we are super excited to host that. Thank you to everybody
Janie and Adrian and Ed. Thank you all for making those comments and do come back. We're here every Thursday at the same time. So come back and watch. And then also, we're a podcast.
We're a podcast. So if this is your first time joining us, or if you're just jumping in here, you've been joining us for a few weeks. We've been doing this since April, y'all. So if you want to go back and listen to past episodes, we mentioned Ed Mabry was on here months ago. We had Faylita Hicks. We had David Bowles. I mean, just
his family. You know.
A number of people. Go check us out. Words and Shit, the podcast. It's out there. Follow Right Art Out on Instagram to find out more about the initiatives that we're putting in place, workshops and open mics. And you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter, Words and Shh.
Words and Shh. You know, and it would be Words and Shit, but they don't want us to say that on Twitter and Instagram. So we're not a secret. We're just Words and Shh.
So yeah, thank you for joining us, everybody. Until next time, that was Eddie Vega.
And that was Chibi Ordoña.
Take care, y'all.
Good night.